All right, next up we've got Feast 2 Sloppy Seconds. I just watched 2 and 3, and my memory of them was that they were like super, super fun and just over the top and this and that. And while they are completely over the top and there's tons of fun to be had throughout it, I found myself actually kind of bored at times. I felt like, especially with part 2, there was some good pacing issues. Like, this is like an hour and 40 minutes, and the third one's an hour and 20, and I feel like the second one could have been an hour and 20. Like, there's a lot of like scenes where they're just like doing these close-up shots of characters for a while, and they're in black and white. I don't know if it's like artistic or what, but all that shit doesn't need to be there. Like, there's a lot of little things throughout this movie. I feel like you could trim 10, 15 minutes off and it would really tighten up that pace. But so yeah, I was kind of surprised at how slow and meandering it is at times. I mean, there's a lot of fun. I mean, there's lots of things that I was like laughing and having a good time and whatnot. So it's not like I went back and was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is total dog shit. And I know there's plenty of people out there that, really don't like the sequels, especially the third one, especially the end of the third one, which still one of my favorite parts of the whole franchise. But yeah, I was surprised. So let's get into the film itself, though. We start the first one leaves off, and we get the sister of the biker chick in the first one, and now we have the biker queen. I like that they she finds her hand and they put the hands together, and like on the thumbs or whatever, they have sister written, and it's just like a really quick, cool explanation. They don't need to have her say it. They don't have to. That's just a really smart way to show us that they're sisters and why she looks exactly like her. I mean, you can kind of figure that out just by the fact they look exactly the same, but I don't know. That was a cute little way to tell the audience what that was going on. In this one, instead of having a written text bio on the screen, they actually do these cutaway scenes where they address them, the audience themselves break the fourth wall and they deliver their bios themselves, which I thought was pretty funny. There's a couple of them that are really funny. Slasher has a really funny line there during one of those bios. So I liked that addition. Then they do away with it in the third one. They just go back to the written text one, so that was kind of odd. The bartender, Clu Gulager, the father of the director here, he, in the first one, was supposed to die in 70 minutes, as it says in his bio. And not only does he end up living for this movie, he also lives in the next movie, and spoilers for all 3, but he also is the only survivor outside of the Thunder, the little wrestler guy. We don't know his fate. The girl is crushed at the end. The wrestler guy, he's just not there, and then we see the bartender walking down the street. But we're going to save that for 3, although I already kind of said it. And how did the bartender know that Bozo killed the biker chick? He wasn't there. No one said anything, so that doesn't really make any sense, but it is what it is. And something else I found very odd is like the biker queen comes, she wants vengeance for her sister. She's going through the movie all pissed off about it, and we never see Bozo, Hot Wheels, or the other person, the chick, I can't remember what her name is, ever again. In part 2 or 3. They're just completely unaddressed. They just drove off and that's it. They got away. I don't know if they died or what, but unless I missed it, I didn't see them anywhere. Maybe they found their car and I just missed that, but I didn't see it. So please correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think I don't think they're seen again. And Thunder and Lightning. You get to see Thunder's huge dick. That's like he's like a tripod, like mini-me. And one of their bios, I can't remember who this was. I think it was the hobo or whatever. One of his line at the end of his bio is just, "Who wants to get fingered?" I don't know why I've always found the fucking, like, term fingered so funny. I've always found that to be hilarious. It's the most ridiculous thing to me. When anybody in a movie or anything, like Freddy got fingered or something, it's like, he got fingered. Fingering. I don't know why I find that so fucking funny. Oh yeah, slashers is suck a dick, everyone. I love their kind of like little outro lines that they have at the end of their bios. We have this chick in this movie called The Secret, because she lives her life by The Secret. If you guys ever watched that silly ass video once upon a time, if you just think things, they'll happen. If you just imagine checks coming in the mail, they'll come in the mail. Yeah, that doesn't work. That doesn't work. You actually have to do things to have things happen. So you can have good intentions. You know, keep a positive frame of mind, but you've also got to like put yourself out there and do things. You don't just write a number down like $1 million and put it on the wall and then it just happens. That's not going to happen. So anyway, I'm sorry. I've always found that thing. I remember watching that the first time when it came out. I was watching it. I was just like, this fucking for real? Like, people, wow. I will say though, the mother of my children, she uses the parking one. And I'm not fucking with you, man. Every time we go to the parking lot of any place, she gets like front row parking every time. It's not like we circle and circle and circle, because that's what I thought in the video when I watched it. I'm saying it's a pure coincidence. Trust me, I don't believe in shit, but it's definitely one of the only things where I'm just like, damn, man, every time we call it, she calls it Jesus parking. And she gets Jesus parking like literally every time we ever go anywhere. It's like, and I never do, because that's it. Because it does work, and I'm a pessimistic fucking dickhead, and that's why I don't deserve Jesus parking. Anyway, so we find out the monsters attacked the entire town and killed mostly everybody. And then we get the chick biker gang. Let me tell you something about this. This is going to show you how pathetically perverted I might be. Or I actually 100% am. So later in the movie, Cat Girl and Tit Girl, aptly named, especially Tat Girl. Oh my good God. I was so physically attracted to Tat Girl. Tit Girl's beautiful and her physique, all that is wonderful, don't get me wrong. But like, Tat Girl has the perfect physique, look, style, everything I'm into, everything I especially was into at the time I saw this movie. So when she took off her clothes and she got naked and she was just down to like a studded belt and panties and whatever, I legitimately, this is fucking ridiculous, but this is a true story. When I watched this the first time, I couldn't even look at the screen when she was on screen. It was that overwhelming, my attraction to her in those sequences, that it was actually painful to look at her. And I legitimately had to like cower away from the screen because I couldn't handle it. Wow. That's the only time that's ever happened in my whole life. So I don't know what that was, but she just, I don't know, she was like perfection to me at the time. And I think maybe I just didn't have the girlfriend at the time or something. And my body was just like, no, can't handle it. Too much. Fuck. It's pathetic, but it's true. It's true! I love their hiding in the building. And Slasher's like, this place is just like barely staying together. Like bird shit's keeping it together or something. And they think the front wall is going to collapse. And then just behind them, the back wall falls down out of nowhere. Just the whole thing too. Not like it crumbles. The whole thing just falls backwards. You're fucking right. This whole franchise, like especially 2 and 3, I love that Dunstan and Melton and everyone else involved. I'm sure Gallagher had his own little input and other people as well. But this is one of those movies, one of those franchises where it was just a total why the fuck not kind of thing. It's just like, we'll do this because why not? Why the fuck not? And I love movies like this. I love that people are just on the set and they're like, and how about we end it with the robot crushing somebody? Like literally out of nowhere. And it's like, yeah, fuck it. Why not? Like, I don't know. That just, it's such a nice break from the routine, normal constructs of films. Like, just normal A, B, and C, get from here to there, villain, hero, battle. Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of those movies that I like, and I can handle those movies all the time. It's just, these are nice breaks because they really take all the different, things that you're used to and totally flip them on their heads and do something drastically different. So anyway, where are we? Honey Pie turns up in town, so she didn't get away, although the other ones did, so she's there. And the bartender does not like that she left them, so he beats the shit out of her in front of the biker gang, which is just comprised of all women, and they don't give a shit that this man is beating the hell out of a woman right there in front of them. And then he bites her fucking ear off. Oh my good God. And they don't care about that either. And then they throw her out the window because, and the biker queen was trying to get revenge on her because she had her sister's gun. Then they kill a few, and the dude who gets the pipe through his head, I can't remember his name, he decides to dissect one of them because it's science, baby. So he cuts them open, and there's all sorts of weird shit in there, and all just disgusting. That's what I was saying about the first one, and it just is exponentially greater in this. It is extremely juvenile, extremely. It's like this film was written by a 12-year-old, and extremely disgusting. Like, it is trying so hard to be as gross out, like gory as possible. Just farts and semen and fucking and baby death and grandma death and people's bodies turning into goo and liquefying and pouring grandma out onto the concrete as she's liquefied. And it actually kind of made me a little sick to my stomach saying that. That's hilarious. Didn't gross me out in the movie, but saying liquefied grandma. This is disgusting. But yeah, this movie. So if you guys haven't seen this and you're just watching this, if you guys get grossed out by anything, if you're just like, oh, that's too much, it's too gross. This is too gross. This is too much. Trust me. This is a disgusting ass film. And the next one is a disgusting ass film. Not like the first one. The first one is edgy. The first one is gruesome. The first one has some gore and grossness to it. But this is just to the nth degree. So if you were right on that, borderline of it is a little too tiptoeing into the juvenile stupidity, gross out stuff. Oh my God, this is way too far. Because yeah, he presses on his stomach and a huge fart comes out. Then he presses on another part and the dick squirts cum all over everyone in the room, in their faces. And then he hits something else and it just starts vomiting all of this goo that goes on grandma and just starts to turn her into this dissolved mess of a human. Her fucking lips and her face all fall off. And then there's this giant eyeball that's inside of the thing and starts squealing and has this tentacle dick looking thing that comes out as it's yelling and screaming. What the hell? As I said, this is just go for it. Why not? Who gives a fuck? And grandma's just falling apart. His arms are being fucking falling off and everything. And then there's this really weird, interesting dream sequence, which I feel could have been cut out. One of the monsters just grabs a cat and just starts fucking the cat super hard. I loved that shit like this exists. Shit like this existing gives me faith that there are people out there that aren't sensitive cunts. That's what I have to say about it. There's people out there. There's lots of people who worked on this movie. I'm sure there's people who worked on this movie that were like, what the fuck am I doing on this stupid ass movie? But I'm sure there was a lot of people also having fun and enjoying themselves. You know what? Let's not take shit too seriously. Let's have a good time. that's what entertainment's all about. Like, it should be fun to make the film as well. And I have no doubt people were having a blast on set. Although I could be wrong, but I doubt it. Then the scene that I remember probably the most is when the dude with the pipe, before he gets the pipe in his head, goes to save the baby. And he's like, what does he say? This is how you save lives, people, or something, before he jumps down there to be all heroic. Runs down, grabs the baby, is running around with the baby. It keeps getting closer and closer, and then he looks at it, and it's all like whimsical and happy and like throwing its head around, all super excited. And then he's just like, sorry, baby, and they throws it up in the air as the monsters are chasing, and it's just floating in the sky all in slow-mo, like, oh, whoa. And then as it starts to come down, it's like, oh, like starts crying. Then it just like speeds up, hits the ground, smashes into the ground, and then the freaking monsters tear the fucking thing apart. And then they look down, and there's just like a baby arm, like the one Pennywise waves in it, and then like chunks of baby, and like there's a big bloody pile. There's a big blood pile, or blood pool, should I say, around the baby as it's laying on the ground. It's so wrong. And even like all the biker chicks who have like no soul and no care in the world are like, you piece of shit. And one of them says like, that's fucked up even for this group. And they're like, hell yeah, it is. Because you knew they just wanted to take it as far as they possibly could. Like, what can we do? What can we do that's never done in films that will make it just that much over the top? Well, let's have a baby scene, and let's just, really go overboard with putting it in slow-mo and showing how happy it is and making him be the rescuer and all that. Oh man, when I saw that scene, that was one of the scenes that really got me, like, to fall in love with the movie, because it's so fucked up. And I love that kind of stuff. Just stuff that I know that if I was watching with like a big group of people, like random people, not friends, that like 85-90% of them would just get up and walk out, and like half of those people would be protesting it out loud. I don't know. That kind of stuff makes me happy for some reason. Why do I like when people get so agitated by this kind of stuff? I have no idea. I'm a dick, I guess. But I don't know. I just like pushing people's sensitivity buttons for some reason. Sensitivity is a plague on this earth, people. A plague on this fucking earth. Anyway, and then they build the slingshot, and you're sitting there like, this movie's ridiculous anyways, but you're sitting there like, what makes you think that would work for any reason at all? Like, the speed it would take to throw them over there, the distance you would have to be projected at for the speed, all of that, the drop, everything. 100% you're going to fucking break every bone in your body at bare minimum. Like, you're not going to get out of that without serious injury. Injury to where you can't get up, walk around, and use a key on a door. Like, and the door's down below anyways. So I don't know if he was like supposed to go up there and then like jump down and go around. Like, I don't know, like, couldn't they have just devised a different kind of plan to just walk across the street, run across the street? They knew the monsters were coming, but it's going to throw him to the thing, and then what, he's just going to jump down? The plan's idiotic anyways, but they test it out by throwing grandma. And then they do like a Raiders of the Lost Ark, weighing the different totem like versus, it's like, and then like they take grandma and they pick her up, and he's like, grandma's a little too heavy, like you're going to have to lose some of grandma. And he just rips a hand off, and he's like, nope, that's not enough. And then they just have to like dump her upside down. He's like, pour some of grandma out, and he dumps her upside down. That part is so fucking disgusting. And of course, she's alive in there the entire time, and she keeps going like, oh no. That's so good. That's so fucking wrong and hilarious. They put her on there, and she smashes against the wall and explodes, and that's proof that that's gonna work. But yeah, so they decide to do it, shoots him up in the air, and he just goes halfway, falls right down the street, lands, and then boom, monsters attack him and rip his ass apart. This is so fucking stupid. I love it. Then the guy turns around, and that's when he gets the pipe through the head. Some CGI blood in here, not a huge fan. And then this movie ends on a cliffhanger, and we get a I think it's honey pie. I can't remember. I think it's honey pie, yeah. But she dies in the second one. I don't know. She's like laying dead on the camera, and blood is just pooling all over the camera lens screen, our screen, I guess, as the credits are rolling. What a wonderfully hilarious way to end this fucking movie and leave it completely open to start the third film. So let's get on over to that third film.